Ail-Mint is one of the many mints in Plants vs. Zombies 2, and today I'm going to be ranking every single plant in his family from worst to best. And well, there's a total of 14 plants in his family, and well, starting off at the number 14 spot, we have the Vamporini. Now, this plant is very well known, mainly for the fact that it's one of the worst, if not the worst plant in the entire game. As well, if you go on YouTube and look up the worst plants in Plants vs. Zombies 2, almost every single video that you see, this plant will be in the thumbnail. And well, that's for a good reason, as well. Honestly, this plant is just really bad and really serves no purpose, as well as a wall plant, though it doesn't really have too much health. Which originally sounds like a good idea until you realize it only takes from around one zombie at a time and is really slow. So if there's more than like 2 zombies eating the Vamporini at once, it'll very quickly be able to die and won't be able to heal itself in time. And well, it would also deal damage to the zombies in a 3x3 radius, so that's only 20 damage every few seconds, so it doesn't really affect them too badly. So yeah, this is just a really bad plant that's only gonna ever be usable if it gets a major buff. Now next up we have the Perfume Shroom, and well, the Perfume Shroom has one really simple use, being that it turns every single dinosaur in one lane onto your side. And well, that's literally the only thing that the plant does. It can't be used outside of the Jurassic Marsh world, which already limits how good of a plant it could be, and it has a 30-second recharge time. So yeah, some of the dinosaurs could actually be pretty useful on your side, but the majority of the time this plant just won't work too well, and since it only works in one world, you don't really get to use this plant too often. And well, at the number 12 spot we have the garlic, and well, the garlic could be used in a few good ways, though you have to usually place down multiple garlic to actually make it work. As well, let's say you want to guide every single zombie into a single lane, you'll have to place down at least 4 garlic to make that work. And while the sun cost isn't the problem, as well, it costs only 50 sun, though it has a 20-second recharge time, meaning that'll take over a minute just to place down a couple garlic. And well, since PvZ2's gameplay moves really quickly, that amount of time is actually a really long time, especially for this game. So yeah, in some situations garlic could work, though the majority of the time you just don't use garlic, as well as sort of a waste of a seed slot. Now next up we have Blooming Heart, and well, this plant actually could have been a good plant, though it got nerfed by one main thing. And well, that one main thing is that it could only shoot 1 heart every 2.85 to 3 seconds. Which is just ridiculously slow for this game, as it only deals 40 damage around every 3 seconds. And well, even though the Blooming Heart's damage could go up over time, as well, every single time that it hits a zombie, its attack damage has a chance of going up by 10, and the max that it could go to is 90. So even though it could deal 90 damage sometimes, a 3-second cooldown just really isn't worth it. As well as one of the slowest lobbing plants in the entire game, and it just doesn't really work that well for that one reason. Now next up, at the number 10 spot, we have the Seashroom, and while the Seashroom costs 0 sun, it has a 5-second recharge time. And while a lot of people don't like Seashroom, mainly just because it shouldn't have ever been added into this game, as well it got added over a decade after the game had already came out. And well, because this plant came into the game so late, it ended up just not fitting in with the game at all, as well, since it could only be placed down in one world, being Big Wave Beach, it doesn't fit in. As well, as you know, Big Wave Beach is probably one of the hardest worlds in the entire game and has a ton of annoying levels in it, and Seashroom just doesn't hold up well at all. As well, Seashroom is a pretty weak plant that only deals 30 damage per zombie that it hits, which is just really bad. So yeah, honestly, the reason why Seashroom is this low on the list is that it just doesn't fit in with the game, and it also has a 60-second lifespan similar to the Puffroom, as well it fades away. And well, the next plant also has a very similar issue, being Scarity Shroom, as well, once again, this plant was just added way too late into the game. And well, this plant basically works the exact same way it did in the first game, though one thing that's different from the first game is that once the Scarity Shroom hides into the ground when zombies get too close to him, he'll actually be able to defend himself, sort of, as well he has the ability to reduce the damage that the zombies take on him by 60%. Meaning that it'll actually take a really long time for the zombies to fully eat the Scarity Shroom once he's in the ground, as well that's actually a lot less damage. Though still, it just doesn't really hold up too well in this game, and it's just slightly better than the Seashroom because you're able to place it in every single world in the game, while with the Seashroom you could only place it down in one world. And well, next up we have the Chili Bean, and while the Chili Bean is actually sort of a good stalling plant and sort of a good semi-insta plant. As well, when you place this plant down, it costs 50 sun and has a 20-second recharge time, which is about standard for these semi-insta plants. And well, once the zombie eats the chili bean, the zombie will get stunned for a few seconds, then immediately explode, killing the zombie and also being able to stun other zombies behind it for 7.5 seconds. Meaning that not only does it insta-kill a single zombie, it also stuns the rest of them behind him for 7.5 seconds, which is actually pretty good. And while since this isn't a fully insta-plant and just a semi-insta-plant, by the time this all happens and everything's done being stunned, you'll probably be able to place down another chili bean. So yeah, overall, this is just a pretty good plant that's sort of underrated, at least in my opinion. And well, at the number 7 spot, we have the Puffshroom, and well, at first, Puffshroom just really isn't a good plant on its own, but you could actually spam them down really easily. As well, since it costs literally 0 sun, it has a 5-second recharge time, and was actually added into a game at a normal time, unlike Seashroom and Scarity Shroom, it's actually a lot better than them. As well, it actually fits into its world pretty well, and since you could spam them down really quickly, even though they disappear in 60 seconds, you'll easily be able to replace them. As well, in literally 25 seconds, you could place down an entire row of Puffshrooms, which is pretty overpowered. And well, once you use the plant food on the Puffshroom, they also immediately go back to the 60-second countdown to the beginning of it, and they also all use the plant food. And well, even though it only has a range of 3 tiles, it can still attack the zombies pretty quickly and deal a pretty good amount of damage if you get multiple rows of them. So yeah, for what this plant actually is, it's pretty good, though I'm still kind of unhappy that they decided to make the choice of making it disappear in 60 seconds, as well I still think that was sort of a dumb choice. Now next up we have the Sporeroom, which is one of the only mushroom plants that are actually a lobber. As well, almost every single other mushroom doesn't have anything to do with lobbers, but this one does, and well, it's actually pretty good. As well, it has a pretty good firing rate, and it could do 50 damage for every single zombie that it hits, and it costs 150 sun and has a 5-second recharge time. And while something really unique with Sporeroom is that for every single zombie that is killed by the original Sporeroom's projectile, the zombie will get killed and turn into a Sporeroom. As well, immediately after the zombie dies, the Sporeroom will be put into its place. And while the only critique that I have with these Sporerooms that spawn is that the majority of the time they're way too far up on the lawn and they get eaten pretty quickly. Though it still is a pretty good ability that sometimes works really well. And while at the number 5 spot we have Fumeshroom, and while Fumeshroom costs 125 sun, it has a 5-second recharge time and deals 40 damage for every single zombie or tombstone that it hits. And while the Fumeshroom is actually a pretty efficient plant for killing zombies, also destroying the tombstones, as well as shoots pretty quickly. As well, this plant deals damage in a 1x4 radius, as well the 4 tiles in front of him are activated by a zombie or a tombstone and he'll start attacking it. And while it deals 40 damage per zombie, which is actually pretty good, especially for how quickly that it shoots the zombies, and can actually kill them pretty quickly, especially if you get multiple rows of them. As well, if you just get 2 rows of Fumeshrooms, it'll actually work pretty well. And while the only really downside to this plant is the range of it, as well, since it can only tag 4 tiles in front of it, you'll have to place them pretty far up in the lawn. And well, since you have to place them higher up in the lawn, they have a much higher chance of being eaten by the zombies. Though still, the Fumeshroom works pretty well and it's not really that bad of a plant. And while at the number 4 spot we have the Impair, and while Impair used to be the best plant in this family until it got nerfed. As well, this plant used to be one of the best plants in the entire game until it got nerfed. As well, when you used to use the plant food on this plant, it would turn every single zombie on the lawn into an imp. And while that was one of the most overpowered abilities in the entire game, as well, once it turned all the zombies into imps, you could basically insta-kill them all really quickly. Though I guess PopCap sort of realized that it was extremely overpowered, and then they just changed it into the Impair only turning a couple zombies into imps when you use this plant food. As though the majority of the time, it only turns around 5 to 6 zombies into imps, which is just really bad compared to what it used to be. But don't get me wrong, it's still a pretty good plan, as well as normal ability is also pretty good, as well every single time a zombie eats it, the zombie ends up turning into an imp, and while you could actually do it a lot, as well only has a 5-second recharge time. Which is just another really good thing about this plan, as well a 5-second recharge time, especially for what this plan does, is really good. But yeah, if this plant didn't get nerfed, it would definitely be number 1 on this list. Now at the number 3 spot we have the Goo Peashooter, which is actually a really good pea shooter variant and one of the more powerful ones. As well, the normal peas by itself only deal 30 damage, but that's not the main point of it, as well not only do they deal 30 damage, they also poison the zombies that get hit, which deals an insane amount of damage. As well, the Goo Pea could actually stack the poison a total of 5 times, which ends up turning into 250 damage per zombie. So let's just say there's a really powerful zombie like a Gargantua in front of it and it shoots it 5 times, it'll do 250 damage with poison. Which is actually really good, as well that's a lot of damage to some zombies and can instantly kill most zombies pretty easily. And will combine with the fact that it deals 30 damage per pea is actually a really good plant that could deal a really good amount of damage. And well, when you use this plant's plant food, it also spawns in this giant poison ball that goes across the entire lane and poisons every single zombie and also deals an insane amount of damage to them. And well, with the poison ball, I'm also pretty sure that it immediately stacks up to the max amount of poison to every single zombie. Now at the number 2 spot we have Puffball, and well, Puffball is basically just an upgraded version of the Shadow Shroom. And as most of you know, the Shadow Shroom blows up in a 3x3 radius and poisons every single zombie in that radius, but Puffball just does that even better. And when you place down the Puffball, it immediately explodes, dealing an insane amount of damage to all the zombies around him. And not only does it immediately deal damage to all of them, it also immediately poisons all of them, which deals even more damage. And while it also stuns them for a total of 3 seconds, which isn't too long, though that's not even the main point of the plant, so the fact that it even does that in the first place is pretty good. And while it costs a total of 150 sun, it has a 20-second recharge time, so overall it's just a really overpowered insta-plant that works really well. And while at the number 1 spot for the best plant in the Ail-Mint family, this one really shouldn't be surprising to anyone, we have the Nightcap. As well, the Nightcap is overall one of the best melee plants in the entire game and one of the most overpowered plants in the entire game, as well it has so many good abilities and it can attack the zombies extremely fast. As well, not only could it attack the zombies right in front of it, it could also shoot these piercing poison stars down the entire lane, which poisons every single zombie in that lane. It could also go into stealth mode once the zombies get too close to the Nightcap. And well, even though the Nightcap's base damage is only 30 damage, all the poison damage that the Nightcap does definitely makes up for that. So overall, Nightcap is just extremely overpowered and it costs a total of 300 sun. It has a 5-second recharge time, and well, I would say the 300 sun is definitely worth it. But yeah, comment down below if you agree with this list or not, and also comment which mint family I should rank next. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please like and subscribe and have a great day.